All right, so what do I do? Step 9. Well, they actually have on the website, they provide a phone number you can call if you're having problems with voter registration. And so the division that I called is the Secretary of State Elections Division. So I call the Secretary of State Elections Division. And I get a real person. And so I talked to her a little bit. I explained my situation. I just got moved back to Washington State. I lived here for a long time before I moved away to a few other places. And I moved back, got my enhanced driver license, and I can't register to vote online because if they don't find your ID number, your driver's license ID number, you can't register to vote online. And so she says, we got it. You go online and they have voter registration forms, or you can fill out, like if you have a physical copy of the voter registration form, you can take that, fill it out, and send it in. So what that means is enhanced driver's license. You need to take and fill out this physical, so that I printed out a copy of it. So this is what it looks like. On the back, there's a place where you write in the address of your county voting office. So I'm Keene County, so I wrote that in. And so I took this and I filled it out. That's step number 10. Fill out registration form. Don't know why I decided to write in all caps on that one, but I did. So, fill out voter registration form. Then that includes putting the address on it. Got my stamp. It just folds over like this. So even the physical one, the form I ended up filling out was the one I picked up at Lake Forest Park Library. And so you fold it. It folds in half. And you write it in, put a stamp on it. I taped the ends because it seals. There's like a little glue strip on the top where it seals together. But I didn't want it like poofing out or something and tearing or something like that in transit, so I put tape on both ends. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but it made it. So, spoiler alert. Okay, so after filling it out, I mailed voter registration form. So I did both of these things on the 14th of September, so Monday. Once it was filled out and mailed, I had to wait a ways being like, all right, I think I did this right, but I'll know for sure if my ballot comes. But before my ballot came, we received this in the mail. The Washington State Voters Pamphlet. So this covers different things on the ballot on the state level. And so we have the Washington State Voter Pamphlet arrives. And that is in early October 2020. We're halfway there in terms of steps. More than halfway there in terms of time. So yeah, this is almost a year from when this all started. I guess from leaving the first job, it's over a year now. For me, temporally. All right, and so the next step, I did this on October 7th, the 7th of October, 2020. I started going through the Washington State Voter Pamphlet. Started going through Washington State voter pamphlet. So that way, when I get my ballot, I'm not completely surprised or uninformed. I've been up to date, which is on its own way as being informed. So after this voter pamphlet arrived, next up, the King County official local voters pamphlet arrived. Local King County voter pamphlet arrives. And that is on the 14th of October, 2020. And just one day later, my voter ballot arrived. I did it right. I registered right. Voter ballot arrives. And with that, there's some going back through the pamphlet and being like, ooh, I'm up to date. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. I was very, 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 very excited. And so, last step, segment number 2, step 16. Is, spoiler alert, I voted for myself for president. And so, oh, and this is our voter ballot. I blocked out the address, but this is the envelope it comes in. Yeah. So, I reviewed, there's an official document from the Secretary of State office on this. It's a write-in presidential nominee, I call it document, that's what I'm going to call it. It's for appearing on the presidential ballot in Washington State. And so it has a bunch of different rules you have to follow. And in here, there's a section on write-in candidates. This is the fun. And there's a part that applies to me, so I'm not a candidate. I was a PhD candidate at the University of California, Berkeley, before I quit with no degree. And so I just write in, well, I made a different video about voting for president, or I cover it. So I review this, is the next step. Review presidential write-in document. And so I did that the same day I got my ballot. So that's the end of segment 2. What happens next? What happens next?